ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसां पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone.
प्रणाम गुरुजी। नमस्ते।
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
Namaste. So,
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. In the sloka 35, which we discussed in the last class, we saw Krishna advising Arjuna that doing one's duty, even if it is improperly performed, is better than properly performing another's duty. So, even if one encounters death during doing one's duty, one's own duty, it is far better than doing another's duty. Because doing another's duty is dangerous, it's fraught with lot of issues. Okay. And what did Krishna imply? He was implicitly telling Arjuna, hey Arjuna, your Swadharma as a Kshatriya is fighting the Dharma Yuddha. You are talking about taking sannyasa and running away from this war. Taking sannyasa is paradharma for you at this stage. So stick to your Swadharma. That is the advice Krishna is giving. And I told you with this sloka, 35th sloka, the Karma Yoga topic is over. Krishna has told whatever he wanted to tell. Now, like any keen student who has been listening, Arjuna raises a question for which Krishna will give a beautiful answer. And the questions that Arjuna raises are questions which can be there in everybody's mind, those who listen to all these teachings. So we will read the question. Arjuna uvacha atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. So Anvaya is, hey Varshneya, atha prayuktaha kena ayam purusha charati papam api anichan iva balat niyojitaha. So Arjuna uvacha. Arjuna asked, Arjuna spoke. He Varshneya, O Krishna, Atha, then, Prayukta kena, prompted by what? I am Purusha. Does this person or any person, Charati papam, commits sin, api anichan, even though unwilling, iva balat niyojitaha, as though he is forcibly persuaded. So Arjuna is asking, oh Krishna, then prompted by what does a person commit sin, even though unwilling, as though he is forcibly persuaded? A very important, valid question from Arjuna. Because we all do this, isn't it? Day in, day out, we do this. We know what is right, what is wrong, but still there are circumstances in which we choose the wrong. And we wonder, why did I do that? So Arjuna's question is, hey Krishna, the scriptures are there to guide everyone. And the scriptures also clearly present which course of life is favorable and which course of life is not favorable. What is dharma, what is adharma. The scriptures present karma yoga is healthy and a necessity. And they also want that violation of karma yoga is spiritual destruction. All this is clearly presented. Scriptures also talk about the values of life also, isn't it? And he says, Krishna, it is not that only the scriptures talk about them. Bhagavan has given us a Viveka Shakti, a discriminative power also to know what is proper and what is improper. As I said, what is dharma and what is adharma. First, of course, we learn from the scriptures. But we can easily come to know from our own intellect, our own buddhi, our own thinking also. And that's why Puja Swamiji beautifully says, we need not list out the values for anyone because every human being knows what are the do's and what are the don'ts. Even a thief knows that stealing is wrong. And that is why he steals at night when nobody can see him. And how do we say he knows it is wrong? We say he knows it is wrong because he knows that if it is caught, he will be punished. And therefore, because he knows it is wrong, he does it secretly. Because if he considers stealing is not wrong, he would just walk into anybody's house and then take anything he wants and walk away, isn't it? But he doesn't do that. He waits for everybody to sleep or people to go away from the house, locked house and all, and then he chooses the time to strike. These days, of course, there are CCTV cameras and all that. If the thief is a smart thief, he will disable those cameras also. Swami Parvatanandaji narrates a very interesting story. Two thieves stole money from a bank. Lot of currency notes they stole. And they wanted to divide the loot. Of course, such stealing cannot take place during daytime. So it was night time that they did the stealing. And it was very late at night. And they were tired, they were sleepy. So they thought that let us sleep now. We will divide the loot in the following morning. First of all, they did not know how much they have looted. So they will have to count all that money that they had looted and then divide it equally. But then they thought that if we do it tomorrow morning, we will come to know from the newspapers how much money we have stolen. And that will help us in dividing and save us the task of counting the money. So they found one reason also why they should do it next day morning. So they slept. Then during the night, one of the two thieves, he took the whole money and ran away. And the second thief woke up and complained that that thief stole my money and ran. See the irony. Even a thief does not want his stolen money to be stolen. Even a child, of fifth standard or, in the primary school knows that taking somebody else's pen and pencil is wrong. And that is why a stealing child does that secretly. So everyone knows stealing is wrong. Everyone also knows that one should always speak the truth. Satyam vada. Everybody knows these values. Therefore, ignorance of values, ignorance of dharma is not a problem. Everybody knows dharma and everybody knows what are the values. And what is the fundamental norm for determining what is dharma? When we say Sanatana Dharma, what does it mean? People, unfortunately, because of their total ignorance, they think Sanatana Dharma means Hinduism. It is totally wrong understanding. Sanatana Dharma is applicable to every human being in the world, belonging to any religion, irrespective of caste, creed, and their following. And what is the one sentence which defines Sanatana Dharma? What I do not want others to do to me, I should not do to others. That's all. Very simple law. I don't want anybody to harm me, therefore it becomes my dharma that I should not harm anyone. Dharma in the word Sanatana Dharma should be understood in this manner. Dharma is not a religion. Sanatana Dharma can be literally translated as eternal values. Values which will sustain this entire universe, sustain the humanity for all time to come. You move away from these values, you will face the consequences. So it becomes a dharma that I should not harm anyone, that I should not insult anyone. So therefore what? Nobody should insult me also. If I don't want others to insult me, I should not insult others. I want everybody to love me. Nobody should hate me, which means what? I should also love everyone else. I want everybody to help me, which means that I should be helping others. Therefore, dharma ajnanam is not a problem. Not knowing the right values is not a problem. Everybody knows dharma. It's a very simple law to know, but of course, perhaps very difficult to practice for many people. And the problem lies, as Duryodhana says in the Mahabharata, Janami dharmam nachame pravrittihi, janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi. He says, I know the values, but I cannot follow them. I know it is wrong, but I cannot avoid that. Like a doctor, who can just talk on the evils of smoking with a cigarette in his mouth. He knows it is wrong. He is advising everybody it is wrong, but he himself is unable to stop this habit. And some people think perhaps God himself is making me do that. Because somewhere in the Puranas and all that says, nothing moves without his consent, isn't it? Those who know Tamil, I am reminded of a song, Tamil song, long back, old Tamil movie. Na nasaindala sayum akilamellame. That if I move, everything will move. If I stop, everything will stop. So, what people think that God is supposed to make everyone do different actions. And therefore, some people think that God is making me violate, do all these adharmic action, and therefore they even justify such violations as being God driven. Then there are others who believe in concept of devil and all that, Satan, shaitan in Hindi. Devil is making me violate. There are some others who think that it is my stars, my planets in my horoscope, which are making me violate dharma. Some people blame it on Kali Yuga. Oh, in Kali Yuga, this is how it will be. So the question is, am I helpless in front of such a force? And that is why, many people even begin to doubt the existence of free will. We have seen discussions in these classes itself about free will. Because a person wills to lead a particular way of life, but he finds it difficult. I want to do it, but I'm finding it very difficult. Like the New Year resolutions, people take. Some people even religiously write down the resolution in a diary, so that they can refer to it off and on and remind themselves that this is the resolution they have taken and they should stick to them. But what is our experience? Practically, they will follow them for a maximum 1 or 2 weeks. Then they will revert back to the old ways. Therefore, the question is, do we really have a free will at all? Or is there some force, some other force, some hidden force? And if so, what is that force? So, one group of people will say there is no free will at all. They are fatalistic people who say everything is determined by some other factor. It is all determined by one's destiny, etc. Fate. Then there are others who accept free will, but then they say the will is so feeble that in front of all these our external forces, we are helpless. It is as though someone is or something is keeping a gun on the head, on the temple, forcing us to commit adharma. Therefore, is there an extra force that is determining my actions, or is it a force within myself? Is it my destiny? And if it is within myself, do I have some control over it? Can I win over my destiny using my free will? These are all the questions which are running in Arjuna's mind and probably in all our minds also. And that is why he wants to know why people take to adharma, what is the cause. So that's why he is asking, despite knowing what is right and wrong, how come human beings, the intelligent human beings, the so-called, to use Swami Paramathananda's expression, roof and crown of the creation, how the human beings commit mistake, commit adharma. So he says, anichannapi, against one's own will, against one's own desire. Even though a person does not want to be an evil person, even though he does not want to be a adharmic person, he wants to be a dharmic person only. How come a person papam charati, commits adharma, walks in the path of papa karma? We see scam after scam, corruption after corruption. And it is not restricted only to the politicians. Everywhere corruption and scam only. Normally, people attribute corruption only to government institutions. But the fact of the matter is, even in private companies, private institutions, there is full of corruption only. Everywhere it is so widespread. So how come people do that? How do they indulge in corruption, knowing fully well that corruption is wrong? So there seems to be some other force, some devil in our heart. As I said, shaitan is there, whatever it might be. Therefore, O Krishna, tell me what is that force. Balat niyojita hai iva. The human being is forcibly engaged to tell a lie, to be corrupt, to be angry, to be jealous. He seems to be forced by some unknown principle. Kena prayuktaha. Persuaded by which principle does a person commit adharma? Hey Varshneya, hey Krishna, please tell me. Now Krishna is going to give a profound answer to this question. It starts from the next sloka and it goes on till the end of the chapter. We will read. Okay. What is the answer Krishna is giving? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamayesha Krodhayesha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapatma Ichenamiha Vairinam. Viddiyenamiha Vairinam should be. Viddiyenam Vairinam. Mistake. Okay. Sri Bhagavanu, the Anvaya is Yesha Kamaha, Yesha Krodaha, Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha, Mahashanaha, Mahapapma, Viddiyenam Iha Vairinam. Viddiyenam should be correct. Sri Bhagavanuvacha meaning, word meanings. The Lord replied, Yesha Kamaha, it is this desire. Yesha Krodaha, it is this anger. Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha, it is born of Rajo Guna. Mahashanaha, it is insatiable. Mahapapma, and very sinful. Biggest papam, rather. Enam Vidhi, may you know this to be Iha Vairinam, an enemy in this life. So Krishna is replying, Arjuna, may you know that it is this desire, it is the anger which is born of Rajoguna, which is insatiable and very sinful, and which is the enemy in this life. That is the biggest enemy, what? Kama and Krodha. So the first point Krishna wants to make Arjuna understand is, Arjuna, there is no external force controlling us. So there is no external angel, external devil, etc. controlling us. The whole thing is within yourself only. And that's why, in our philosophy, unlike some other religions, cultures, we don't talk about any devil, etc. We say everything is within yourself only. And if you ask what is the basic force or what is the cause for such behavior, the simple answer, one word answer is ajnana. Ignorance alone is the cause of all problems. Sheer ignorance works at two levels. At the initial level, it is dharma, adharma, ajnanam. Ignorance with regard to what is dharma and what is adharma. And at a higher level, It is ignorance with regard to Atma, Anatma. So two levels it operates. You can even correlate these two levels with Veda Purva Bhaga and Vedanta. So Dharma, Adharma, Viveka, to remove the ignorance of Dharma, Adharma, Viveka, one should study Veda Purva Bhaga and understand the meaning of what is said there. Study it with Bhashyam. And to remove the Atma, Anatma, Aviveka, one should study Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, etc. So Dharma, Adharma, Atma, Anatma, Aviveka, which is one word we can say Ajnanam, ignorance alone is the devil. If at all you are looking for a negative force or a devil, there is no other force other than this Ajnanam, this ignorance. Of course, in this sloka, Krishna does not talk about Ajnanam directly because we rarely understand that Ajnanam. All our thinking is we know everything. And this basic Ajnanam, this ignorance, expresses itself in the form of two forces as Kamaha and Krodha. Ajnanam itself bifurcates itself, divides itself into two forces. One is called Kamaha, another is called Krodha. So this Kama Krodha alone is the problem. And therefore, in the following verses, as I said, till the end of the chapter, Krishna is going to discuss the problem of Kama Krodha. What is the source of Kama Krodha? Remedy or medicines to the disease of Kama Krodha. So these are the three topics he is going to discuss in the balance of this chapter. Kama Krodha Swarupam, Kama Krodha Karanam, Kama Krodha Parihara. These are going to be the threefold topic. And here in this sloka, Krishna starts with the introduction. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Krishna is answering. Krishna answers Arjuna's question. What was the question? Arjuna asked, prompted by what does a person commit sin even though unwilling, as though he is forcibly persuaded? For that, Krishna says, Kama yeshaha, Krodha yeshaha. Kama means desire, as we all know. Krodha also means anger. Esha Kama means the desire which is experienced by every human being intimately. There is no need to bring any desire from outside. Desires need not be taught because everybody intimately knows what the desire is. Of course, the object of desire may vary from individual to individual, but the concept of desire, the presence of desire is universal in all human beings. And to a large extent, it is also present in all living beings, desire. And since it is universally experienced by everyone, Krishna uses the pronoun Yesha Kamaha, this desire, which you feel in your mind intimately, hey Arjuna. And Yesha Krodha, this anger, which you feel intimately. Everybody has got anger at the tip of their nose, as they say. We are just waiting to jump at someone. If we do not get angry, it is not because that we do not have anger. It is just that we have not got an appropriate candidate only. Because there are some people on whom you cannot get angry. You can't get angry over at your boss. Next day you will not have a job. Similarly, at home, you cannot get angry with your wife. You will have to get go without dinner. So if it is a husband, if you get angry with him, he will come home very late. He will not come on time and he may not talk to you. He may snap at you. So all these are repercussions of anger. So anger is a weapon which everyone has ready at the tip, as they say, ready in their on their side, as they say, the tip of the nose rather. So Krishna says this anger is also intimately experienced. And why do we have this anger and this desire? What is the source of this? What causes this kama and krodha? He says, Rajoguna samudbhavaha. Both of them are born out of Rajoguna. We have briefly touched upon the three gunas, Sattva guna, Rajoguna and Tamo guna. We will discuss about these gunas in detail in the 14th chapter. Here, for our understanding, Rajoguna signifies an active life, a dynamic lifestyle. In fact, it is Rajoguna which drives the entire samsaric life. So, Kama and Krodha are born of Rajoguna. And why do we say that they are powerful forces which obstruct karma yoga or dharmic way of life? Krishna gives the reason. He says, Mahashanaha. The nature of kama is that it is Mahashanaha. Literally, Mahashanaha actually can be split as Maha-ashanaha. Ashanaha means a great eater. Maha-ashanaha means a great eater. Mahat ashanam bhojanam yasya saha mahashanaha. Glutton, as we say, There's a story of Gundodara, one of the Shivaganas, It's there, it comes in one of the Puranas rather. He will go on eating without limit. So the idea is this kama, krodha, kama especially is mahashana because there is no way of fulfilling all the desires one has. Any number of desires we fulfill, it will never end. It will only expand more and more. And in fact, there is a very beautiful sloka. Nisvo vashti shatam shati dashashatam laksham sahasradipah laksheshah chitipalatam chitipatihi chakreshatam vanchati chakreshana punarindratam surapatihi brahmam padam vanchati brahma haripatam harihi shaiva padam cha ashavadim ko gataha. I don't know where this sloka occurred, but Swami Paramarthananda quotes this sloka. It's a beautiful sloka. To explain, illustrate how desires are endless. And this is what Puja Swamiji says is the core of samsara, life of becoming. I am something, I want to become something else. So, Nisva Vashti Shatam. When I do not have any money at all, Shatam or Eka Shatam, with 100 rupees I can manage. Shati Dasha Shatam. Once I have 100, then the next plan is to get 1,000 rupees. Then Laksham Sahasradhipaha. Once I get 1,000, my next goal, desire is to get get laksham, a lakh of rupees. Lakshesha kshitipalata. Of course, here in the context of these days, we can say add from laksham we want a crore and then 10 crores, etc. But here, laksham, it stands for all this, any amount of monetary wealth I require. Then lakshesha kshitipalatam. Once I have got enough amount of money, few lakhs or few crores, whatever you can call, then what I want to become? I want to become an MLA, an MP, a politician, or olden days, a small king of a small country. Kshitipalatam. And once I become a king of a small country, Kshitipatihi, Chakreshatam Vanchati. Chakresha means emperor. Once I have become a king of a small country, I want to become an emperor. And that is why earlier days and all, we read all these stories of invasions taking place, one king attacking another and annexing that kingdom and all. Why wants to become a Chakravarti? So once I have become a king of a small country, I now want to become an emperor with many kings under me. But am I happy as a Chakravarti? Chakreshaha Punarindrata. Then the question arises, a desire arises. What is the use of being an emperor of this miserable earth? I want to be the emperor of heavens, Indraha. But now suppose Indra comes across you and you interview Indra, ask you, hey Indra, you are the emperor of the heavens. Are you happy? Indra will say, Surapatihi Brahmam Padam Manchati. No, I am not happy. I am busy working for becoming the next Brahmaji, which is a higher post. I can be promoted. I am one of the candidates who can be promoted to Brahmaji's position. Oh, very good. That means Brahmaji should be the happiest person. And you go to Brahmaji and ask him, are you happy? It said Brahma Haripadam, Vishnu Padam, Harihi Shaiva Padam. Now Brahma wants to become what? Brahma wants to become Vishnu. Vishnu wants to become Shiva. And if you are a Vishnu Bhakta, you can change the sequence. I don't want to get into any controversy. You can say Brahma Shiva Padam, then Shiva Haripadam. You can change the order of that. Okay, doesn't matter. The point is that the net result is what? Ashavadim ko gataha. There is no end to desires. And this practically we see in our life. Since we have not become a Chakravarti, maybe that the going to Indrapadam and all that is far distance away. But this sloka beautifully illustrates how desires are insatiable. That is why it is called Mahashanaha. And the question is, why the desires do not end? What is the reason? The reason is, the logic is, all the desires are different expressions of one basic desire only. And what is that desire? To become complete. To get away from the feeling of incompleteness, apurnatvam. That is the basic desire. I feel I am incomplete, apurnaha. I have a small house. I feel incomplete without a big house. I am unmarried. Therefore, without a spouse, I feel I am incomplete. I only have a two-wheeler. Therefore, without a car, I feel I am incomplete. I have no child. Therefore, without the child, I feel incomplete. Given that my natural state, my real nature is that I am Purnaha. I am incomplete in all respects. And this feeling of incompleteness militates against my natural state. And therefore, I want this incompleteness makes me uncomfortable. Because that is my natural state. Completeness is my natural state. Purnatvam is my natural state. Therefore, if you understand this, my struggle is not to buy a house, not to get a spouse, not to get a car, not to get a child. My desire is through the house, through the spouse, through the car, through the child, I want to become a complete person. I want fulfillment, which is my natural state. Therefore, through all these superficial desires, I want to fulfill only one desire, and that is the finiteness. I am finite. I feel I am finite. I want to become infinite. That is the basic fundamental desire. And all these others are all manifestations of that basic desire. As they say, water finds its own level. Like that, our consciousness also wants to drive us towards that position of Purnatva. And Vedanta, from where we know, Vedanta says it is incompleteness. Incompleteness is not your natural state. And if that is really your natural state, incompleteness is your natural state, then you can never become complete. By adding anything, you can never become incomplete. An incomplete one can never become complete by acquiring things. A finite one can never become infinite through acquisition. Finite plus finite is equal to finite only. Finite plus finite can never become infinite. So by a process of fulfilling the desires, you can never become Purnaha. And therefore, our very approach is illogical approach, ignorant approach. Because I, the finite, wants to become infinite through acquiring all these things. And that's why Swami Chinmayananda beautifully puts it. Happiness is nothing but the number of desires you fulfill divided by the number of desires you have. Note it. Beautiful equation. What is happiness? Number of desires you fulfill divided by number of desires you have. Can this number ever be equal to 1? If it equals 1, then you will be a happiest person. But the denominator is always bigger than the numerator. It will always end in a fraction. So that is why you are always unhappy. Suppose you have got 10 desires and you go on fulfilling one by one to reach that complete stage of happiness, Purna Ananda, 10 by 10. So when one desire is fulfilled, applying the formula, number of desires fulfilled divided by number of desires you have, one desire is fulfilled, I have got 1/10 happiness. Two desires I fulfilled, 2 by 10 happiness. Then 3 by 10, 4 by 10, and so on. Then I complete the 10th desire. What will be my happiness? 10 by 10 or 1. Complete happiness, Purna Ananda. Until then it was fractional Ananda. Now with fulfillment of all the 10 desires, it will be Purna Ananda. And this is my wishful thinking at present. I have got this list of desires. Once I fulfill, I'll be fully happy. Then I discover that there is a peculiar thing happening. By the time I fulfill the 10th desire, the number of desires has increased from 10 to say 100 or 1000 even. So when I fulfill the 10th desire, what is the unit of happiness? It will be, let us say, 1,000 desires are there, 10 by 1,000. So when I fulfilled my first desire, the happiness was 1 by 10. And by the time I fulfill my 10th desire, it is 10 by 1,000 or 1 by 100, right? And therefore, I have actually becoming, instead of becoming more happy, I have gone from 1 by 10th happiness to 1 by 100th happiness. And this we call progressing in life. See the irony. All this because of ignorance, ajnanam only. And that's why we observe this by seeing all the gloomy faces around us. Each one of us has fulfilled so many desires in our life, but the feeling of incompleteness continues. The struggle to become complete also continues till one reaches the last stage when it is time to leave the body. And even at that stage, the desires are still lingering. And there is a belief that if you have desired something very strongly and that has not been fulfilled, the Jivatma will not go out of the body. All these beliefs are there. How I came to know is there one person who was okay, I mean, not very bad, but wanted a lot of money. Then he was admitted to the hospital, and for a few days, they put him on ventilator and things like that and all that. But he would not die. They will keep him alive. The doctors, medicine and all that. Then somebody suggested that this person wanted a lot of money in his life, and perhaps that desire remains unfulfilled. So you bring lot of currency notes and put it under his pillow and he will die. It was such an amusing thing I ever heard in my life. But then this is what people believe. The whole thing is so illogical because the finite wants to become infinite by adding more and more finite things. Since it is never possible, we will go on struggling, and therefore the desire or karma is called Mahashanaha. As long as I continue the struggle of fulfilling the desires, I am preoccupied, so preoccupied in my life, I have no inclination or time for anything else. Every desire takes your time, your energy. Desires get priority over attending Gita classes. They get priority. Pursuit of desires leaves no time for doing Sandhya Vandanam, no time for prayer, no time for going to temples, no time for attending, satsangas, no time for scriptural studies, because overwhelmed by one desire after another desire after another desire, and in the process of fulfilling each one of them. More number of desires, more time is taken, and even if you have some leisure time, even at that time you cannot think of scriptures or anything, because we want some entertainment at that time. We will, if there is a free time, we will pick up the phone and then do, WhatsApp message, Facebook message, who is saying what and all, or switch on the TV, watch some serial or something like that. In fact, with the coming of the mobile phones, we carry the means of entertainment with us itself rather. Many people play games, what is that PUBG and all. I don't know what that game is. Some very popularly known. I have read it. So they carry the entertainment with them. They don't need to go anywhere for entertainment. Wherever they are, they entertain themselves. Therefore, the problem is that your mind is distracted by worldly desire, that you have no time to find out what is the basic problem, what is the fundamental problem. You can discover the fundamental problem only if you lead a religious life. You can discover only if you study the scriptures. A religious life plus scriptural study is required to inquire into my way of life, which is materialistic, and to know that my very direction is wrong. Therefore, Krishna says, desire is your enemy. Desire leads you to materialistic lifestyle. It does not allow you to ask the fundamental question. So Mahashanaha, Kama obstruct by distracting your mind to materialism. In Kathopanishad, Yamadharma Raja, who is the guru, who is the teacher, he is telling Nachiketa, because the similar question is asked by Nachiketa, why do we people do all these things? And Yamadharma Raja, being a very nice teacher, instead of criticizing the people for what they are doing, he puts it very beautifully. In fact, he comes to the aid of people who are drowned in desires and in pursuit of materialistic life. He says, Paranchikani vyatradat swayambhuhu tasmat parang pashyati nantaratman kaschid virah pratyagatmanam ekshat avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. Yamadharma Raja says, the Supreme Lord, while creating the human beings, have been very unkind to the people. So he puts the whole blame on Bhagawad. See, very nice, I mean, you don't become, when I tell you, you know, all these things, problem and all, you should not develop an inferiority complex. So Yamadharma Raja tells Nachiketa, it is because the Supreme Lord has been very unkind to people. He has created all the sense organ with outgoing tendencies. Therefore, a man perceives only outer objects with them and not the inner self. Na antaratman. So people are so extrovert that they have no time to sit back and reflect, no inclination to contemplate what they have been doing for so many years, what they have accomplished. Such questions are never asked. And not only karma is a problem by making me extrovert, krodha, anger is also a problem. Anger makes a person violent, and violence is himsa, and himsa is papam. Harming other people is papam. Mahabharata, Vyasacharya says, Shruyatam dharma sarvaswam shrutvacha avadharyatam atmana pratikulani na paresham samacharet. It is said to Dharmaraja, I am giving you the entire content of dharma. Listen and do not forget. Do not inflict on others that which is inconvenient to you, which you do not want others to inflict on you. That is dharma. One cannot make the definition of dharma simpler than this. There is another sloka. Ashtadasha Purananam Saram Vyasena Kirtitam Paropakaraha Punyaya Papaya Paripidanam. Any type of violence is papam. Anger makes a person violent both verbally and physically. Many people are not physically violent, but they have got a very sharp tongue. They will strike at every opportunity. So that's all Mahapapa. Therefore, anger makes me do papam. Papam brings me down in the spiritual ladder. And therefore, he says Mahapapma. Anger is a problem because it makes a person violent. Therefore, Kama makes a person extrovert. Krodha makes a person violent. An extrovert, violent person can never follow dharma. An extrovert, violent person cannot follow karma yoga. Therefore, he says, Enam Vairinam Vidhi. May you understand that these two principles, Kamaha and Krodha, are your enemies. And in fact, Krishna will emphasize this throughout the Gita. 5th chapter, he will point out Shaknoti haiva yasodham praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Handling kama and krodha should be the lifelong project of an intelligent human being, because the quality of life is determined by these two powerful forces. Again, 16th chapter, he will repeat Trividam narakasyedham dvaram nashanam atmanah kama krodastata lobah tasmade tatrayam tyajet. He said there are three roads to hell, three express highways to hell. What are they? Kama, Krodha, Tata, Lobha. Like that, he will talk about Kama and Krodha throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna here says, Enam Vairinam Vidhi. So Kama and Krodha are two sides of the same coin. They are not two separate tendencies, two sides of the same coin. And this Shankaracharya beautifully explains in the commentary in the second chapter. He says, desire obstructed, an unfulfilled desire gets converted into anger. Obstructed desire turns to anger. Fulfilled desire turns to what? More desires. So desire, when it starts, it has got two effects. If it is fulfilled, it will lead to more desires. If it is unfulfilled or obstructed, it will lead to anger. And this we can see, gambling people. They will sit with all sorts of resolution. Okay, only one round I am going to play. Then if they suppose win, it's okay, let me play one more. Third, fourth time, fifth time, they will keep on winning, and the one round will come, they will lose everything. Therefore, desire obstructed turns to anger. Desire fulfilled turns to greed. Lobha. Of course, here in this sloka, we are not talking about greed. Obstructed desire turns to anger, and therefore, anger is also a different version of desire only. We must understand. The more we will see in the next class. Okay, I think. Yeah, we will see in the next class. I'll stop here. Some more we have to talk about anger and things like that and all. Just giving some examples so that we realize what exactly we are meaning. Okay. I'll say the prayers. Oh, we got still 2 minutes to go. I'm sorry. Okay, I think we can continue. 2 minutes, I will finish. And as I said, anger is another form of desire only. And it's an extension of desire. And the intensity of the anger is directly proportional to the intensity of the desire. This Swami Paramatmanji explains a nice example. Suppose you want to see a particular program in TV. Let's say one-day match, some cricket match. You have been planning to see this for a long time, last 1 month. Everything is done. TV is all cleaned, prepared, sofa and all seating is arranged, and all popcorn ready. Everything is ready. So you are going to have a 3-4 hours some ODI match. But what happens just before the match is to begin, power goes off. How do you feel? How much will be the anger, quantity of anger? The anger will be directly proportional to the desire. Suppose you had not made all these preparations, it's okay, if possible, I will see the match if I get time. Then power goes off, we'll say, okay, in any case, I was not very keen, no problem, no anger will be there, or if it is there, very little. But suppose you have made all the preparation, keen desire, then this happens, then the anger will be proportional to the degree of desire you have. Okay. So both desire, anger, kama, krodha are interconnected. In fact, you can say they are one and the same, different phases of the same aspect. Now, how to handle that whole thing, Krishna will say in the next sloka. Okay. So we will read the next sloka also in the beginning of next class. I will stop here now. It is 7. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you very much, all of you.
Dhanyavadaha, Guruji.
Namaskaram, pranams, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Oh, Hariji is there today. And his hands is gone up. Yes, Hariji. You can unmute.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Guruji, I have a query about human rights.
Human right.
Is the rights, human rights? Is the concept human rights connected with the Sanatana Dharma?
Yeah, human right is connected with Sanatana Dharma. What is a human right?
That I thought it is connected with all Abrahamic religion.
No.
That human beings are superior compared to all other things and beings in the world, and everything other than human beings are produced. That is what the Christianity, that they say that they are all meant for the benefit and the enjoyment of human beings.
That may be their philosophy, right? As far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, every living being in this world has got a right.
Yeah.
And what is that right? How do we define that right? I have got a right to be protected against something which I do not desire.
I didn't get you that.
Yes. I suppose Satyam Vada is one value, one dharmic value, correct?
Yeah.
The truth, right?
Yeah.
Now, why it is a value for me? Why I feel that I should be protected against lies? Because I don't like somebody telling lies to me, correct?
Yeah.
So I consider that it is my right to only be told the truth always. Correct? Up to this you are following?
Yeah.
So when that is my right, how do I define your right? Your right is you should have equal protection from being told untruths by me to you or by anybody else.
Yeah.
So the values, for example, let us take another value, which will be more relevant in the context of all the living beings. Ahimsa is a value.
Yeah.
Why it is a value? I want to be, it is my right to be protected against himsa, against me. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want, nobody should practice violence against me, and that is my right. Correct? Are you understanding the line of thinking?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Similarly, every living being has got a right to be protected against violence against that human being.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like violence against me. Every
Yeah.
living being does not like violence against it, whether it is an animal, whether it is even a plant, rather.
Yeah.
They don't like to be, any violence against them. They
Yeah.
want to live peacefully only. If you take a
Yeah.
stick, show it to an animal, it will run away. It
Yeah.
doesn't want violence. So,
Yeah.
the same dharmic Sanatana Dharma values, you can convert them, understand them as rights, but not restricted to human rights only. There are certain aspects which apply to human beings, like speaking truth. Animals won't speak at all, right?
Yeah.
But the general principle is that Sanatana Dharma is about protecting the lives of every living being, including protecting there is a plant has got a right to survive.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And when you kill the plants, what is going to happen? That is what is happening today.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
violated its rights, so the cosmic forces are violating your rights of living peacefully.
Yeah.
So that is how we have to understand Sanatana Dharma and rights. And so far as we are concerned, human rights is a very restricted concept. When we are talking about rights, we have to talk, because we talk about rights individually, human rights, animal rights, and all that separately, right? There is no, that's all division they have made for whatever purpose it is there. But from our Sanatana Dharma point of view, every living being has got a right, and that right, it is duty of everybody to protect that right. And that is why whenever we talk of rights, we cannot talk of rights without talking of duties. Rights and duties go together. What is right for one person is a duty of another person. What is a right for me is a duty of others to protect my right. Similarly, what is the right of others, I have a duty to protect them. So rights and duties, we talk together in Sanatana Dharma, whereas all other people whom you are referred to, other culture, they only talk about the rights. Nobody talks about the duties. And that's why you are finding all these human right activists and like that. They only look at the right side of it and not at the duty side of it. As a citizen of the country, we have got certain duties to perform, fundamental duties which has been enshrined in the Constitution. When you don't perform that duty and you are going to be punished for that, what they see is only the right part of it, not the duty part of it. So there are so many, such issues which are there. But from our culture point of view, rights and duties to go together, and we don't restrict the rights only to human beings. It's a right of the entire living beings in the entire cosmos. Even an ant, a mosquito has got a right to lead its life. Even if it means drinking your blood, it has got a right to do that.
Exactly.
I don't say that you ask the mosquito to come and come on, drink my blood. Not saying that. You have got to protect yourself against that also. That is also a right.
Yeah. But then instead of saying human rights, if we say mutually coexistence, that I remember that you have told, in fact, you have told many times that we have encroached the land of the animals and other creatures, And for that, we are paying penalty many times.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I asked this question only from that point of view, I was remembering that you have been teaching us.
Today,
So mutually coexistence instead of human rights, if we say, will it be more appropriate?
if it is mutually coexistence, and if you say that you cannot destroy these forests and build castles there, then there will be a problem for many people, isn't it? So what you can do, forget about all these things, what is going on. From at your level, from your perspective, adopt a mutual coexistence concept. I protect your right, you protect my right. I perform my duty, you perform your duty. To the individual, at the individual level, it is under our control, we can do it. So far as the world is concerned, this is not under our control. And we cannot change the world. World will be what it is, driven by raga and the kama and krodha of so many people. Hundreds of crores of people, kama krodha is involved. Let us not worry about that. Let us worry about myself. Do I understand what is the essence of Sanatana Dharma? I want to follow Sanatana Dharma. I will then do whatever is there to be done for me. That's all. If the plants are giving me fruits and vegetables, I will take them, nourish those plants, give them water, help them grow. So like that, and if the animals I know that are dangerous, I will keep myself safe away from the animals. But at the same time, for my safety, I will not destroy them. I will also see to it that I don't encroach upon their territory and I don't allow them to encroach upon my territory. So all these things, you can go on thinking about it, talking about it. We should focus on what I am going to do, what I should do within our, physical limitations and things like that. That is enough. That is what is our spirituality so far as individual is concerned. Whether other people are doing human rights or animal rights or what not rights, coexistence, let them bother about it. I want to coexist with everybody. I will coexist with everybody. Period. Wherever I find there is a conflict, I will change my behavior using my free will to bring in the coexistence. That's all. Okay. Aryo, thank you. Any other question?
No.
Oh, anybody else?
Oh, okay.
No other hands have gone up, so I assume there are no other questions.
Namaste, Guruji. This is Lata. I didn't put my hand up because I always like to follow Hariji.
Okay. Tell me.
Yeah, as always, when you're explaining everything seems quite lucid, but then after that, everything appears much more complicated than earlier, especially when it comes to practice. In these shlokas where answering Arjuna's question, Krishna is saying Rajoguna Samudbhava. Rajoguna is the origin of Kama and Krodha, and they are the main two enemies. But then Rajoguna is also a basic necessity to lead the life, isn't it? And then they are the cause of the two enemies. So how to conquer over, how to have the Rajoguna to the required extent, and the Kama Krodha also only to the required extent and not let it go out of our control or hand. The guideline comes in the future shlokas, I suppose, Guruji.
Well, I mean, generally, what is the spiritual path? As I told, even Viveka Chudamani and all, a man is born with predominance of tamoguna.
Yes, Guruji.
Then what happens as the person grows? As a child, tamoguna pradhana. Now, once a person grows, then rajoguna takes over.
Yes.
And rajoguna helps you to lead a very active life, do all the actions that you have done, getting married and having children, everything rajoguna is doing there, right? Now, at a particular stage, you have to now take a decision, take a resolve that you are now going to increase the sattva guna aspect of your life and reduce the tamo guna aspect, so that there comes the stage where sattva guna becomes predominant. When sattva guna becomes predominant, all these kama krodha aspects of rajo guna will get subdued. Practically, that is what you should do. And it is not difficult to do. All Mahatmas have done this and become Mahatmas.
Yes, but by that time we would have done so many, accumulated so many papas.
Doesn't
By
matter.
the time we come to
Doesn't
this
matter.
stage.
See, I'll tell you, this acquisition of, first of all, when we come to a very higher levels of Vedanta, all this Papa, Punya and all are Mithya. There is nothing called Papa, Punya. Papa, Punya concepts are required for us to induce us to lead a dharmic life. These are all, mechanisms which has been introduced to keep us in check. Because God has given free will. Once you start using the free will in a free way, where we don't know what all things we will do, so therefore this Papa Punya is there. Even assuming there is Papa Punya. Once you have increased your Sattva Guna aspect, it will automatically lead you to spiritual emancipation. It will lead you towards moksha. It will lead you towards jnanam. It will lead you towards self-knowledge. And once the self-knowledge sets in, and you actually assimilate that knowledge and abide in that knowledge, all this Papa, Punya, business, all karma, phala and all are completely removed. We have seen that in Tattva Bodha itself. So it may not happen in this life, but if you have already set the ball rolling in this life, it will keep on rolling, and it will come a stage where this Papa Punya will not make any sense. Krishna is talking about Papa Punya and all now because Arjuna is still Rajo Guna Samudbhava. He is still in Rajo Guna Pradhana stage rather. And in fact, Krishna is telling Arjuna, use your Rajo Guna to fight this war. So Krishna is not against Rajo Guna. He is not criticizing Rajo Guna. He is only answering the question of Arjuna. Why do we do that? He says we are doing this because Kama and Krodha. That's all. And of course, in the other slokas, he will add Lobha also. So everything has got a place in life. We have to appreciate that. And we have to work according to that. Well, because I have got Rajo Guna, dynamic life, active life, and all that, got desires and all that, does not mean that you fall in adharmic ways. That is an important lesson. Whatever dharmic you want to do, use your Rajo Guna, it is necessity rather. Till your responsibility where you already been born, that you can't do anything. There is a prarabdha karma which is attached to you. So you have to use the Rajo Guna to the extent that that is necessary. But at some stage, you have to call it a day. I will give you a very simple example. There are many people who work till 58 years or 60 years in a job, right? They will have an employment till retirement age. Okay. During that time, assume that they have made, enough money, or they're financially comfortable, children are married, they
Hello.
have grown up.
Hello, I'll call you in 10 minutes.
Okay. So assume that they have actually fulfilled most of their family commitments. Financially also, they may not be crore-patis and all, but they have got enough money, enough resources for the rest of their life. How many people choose to retire and pursue something else in terms of spirituality, in terms of the religion, in terms of social service, in terms of helping others. How many people do that? Tell me. After retirement, everybody wants to take up some consultancy or some other job and things like that, and I'll ask them, I have nothing else to do, so I have to do something, so I am doing this. Are you doing it free of cost? No. You are expecting a salary and money from there. So the basic desire is to earn, not keep yourself occupied. Because if you want to keep yourself occupied, there are hundreds of charitable ways you can keep yourself occupied. So what is the problem? The problem is when the retirement age is there, 58 or 60, you have an opportunity to convert your lifestyle into more Sattva Guna lifestyle. You have been having a Rajoguna lifestyle till your retirement. After that, you have got an opportunity to now progress towards developing more and more Sattva Guna. But how many people take that opportunity is a big question mark. So this is the why we have to understand practically it is not impossible to do. You have to use your free will to do that. That is important.
Okay.
That is
So
what.
again, the free will, proper use of the free will at the
Proper
right
use of free will in a proper way. What is required? I mean, like you, when you were probably in the 10th standard or plus 2, you wanted to become a doctor, right? You started preparing yourself to whatever exams have to be given or whatever things, necessary things. You start preparing for that, right? Do you prepare a day before the exam? No. You prepare. So similarly, when you are active, when you are Rajoguna predominant life you are leading, you must at some stage, later stage, start thinking, what next? And guidance is there in the scriptures. What next? You are even assuming that you have been following Veda Purva Bhaga, doing all the karmas, everything. What next? Next is Vedanta. That is the scriptural progression which they have put. Why they put Vedanta at the end? Vedanta requires a lot of Sattva Guna. And lot of Sattva Guna you can acquire by following Sadhana Chatushte Sampatti. So everything is there. All the syllabus is there for us. All that we have to do is understand that syllabus, pick up that syllabus, start preparing for it. And then you can get into this whole thing. So you have to use your free will, take a decision at some particular point in time. Enough. That's what we call alam buddhi. What is the problem? In fact, if you ask me, it is not kama krodha and all. Kama krodha are also a result of this non-existence of alam buddhi. Alam buddhi means enough. We never say enough in our life. Once you develop alam buddhi, then automatically all other things will follow. Does that answer your question? Or doubt? Confused you more.
Whenever you clarified, it's always clarified. Yes. Thank you.
Guruji, alam buddhi, can you explain? It is enough.
Alam buddhi means enough. I have earned enough. Alam means it is now. I am not going to earn anything more. Alam buddhi, when we eat, somebody is
annada. Enough.
when somebody
I am
is
full.
serving you, what you say? Stop.
I am full.
I am full. Alam buddhi. So that alam buddhi comes in respect of our eating. It should come in every aspect in life. Desires fulfillment. Alam buddhi. I have enough desires I have fulfilled in my life. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. All that I have done. Now I am left with no more desires. That's right. So the alam buddhi is a very important aspect. Alam buddhi means what? Contentment with what you have. Not chasing things. Not becoming a glutton. more and more, give me more, give me more, give me more, and then end up with a severe stomach problem. That is what is alam buddhi is all about. So one should develop that alam buddhi.
Okay.
All these are all, tips for how to proceed in spiritual path. So, and all are interrelated. I mean, it's not separate things.
That's what kind of obvious. That is all interrelated.
All
One leads-
interrelated. Yeah.
like one good thing leads to another good thing, and one bad thing leads to another bad thing. It seems to be a chain
Exactly.
reaction both
As they
ways.
say, to protect one lie, one has to tell 99 lies. There is a saying rather. If you tell one lie, in order to justify that, you have to tell another 99 lies. 99 in Tamil it says, ஒரு பொய் சொன்னா 10 பொய் சொல்ல வேண்டி வரும். 10 they talk about. But you can tell any number of lies you can say just to justify one lie that you have said. So it is like that only.
And again, to use your free will at the right time to the right extent. Your free will is there, and it is to be used to actually implement it. Again, you need God's grace and your
God's grace is
submission to God is always there.
yes,
That's
that is always
default.
Yeah,
That's a default.
there. Because God's grace is like the oxygen that we intake. It's always
All
there.
the time.
Because of God's grace only we are what we are today. God's grace only we have got the human birth also, rather, that we are able to discuss about all these things. But
Yes.
free will is very important because at any point in time, you will be presented with choices. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I pick this? Should I pick that? And all. There, the free will should be used to evaluate the options and pick up the most dharmic options out of them, rather. That is what is, will lead you in a spiritual path. That's what it is.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you so much.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari
Okay,
Om.
close the session today unless there is somebody wants to get a last minute question. We'll go ahead. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you.